is a flying bird.
Collect them all and let them dream.
I still play with toys, so what you gonna do? The legend figures not those. Left coast is the best coast. 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 I like Sasquatch. I like Mr. T. I like Star Wars. Now give me some candy. Left coast is the best coast. Left coast is the best coast.
I have
Left coast is the best coast.
It's kind of crazy.
I like Sasquatch. I like Mr. T. I like Star Wars. Now give me some candy. Left coast is the best coast. 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 Left coast. Left coast. Left coast.
Left coast is the best coast.
We got the metal version and the acoustic version.
What do you think of that, Brett?
I like the like Star Wars. Give me a snack or give me some candy.
Give me some candy.
Always
Yeah,
some
I like
food
that.
involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, written and directed and produced and performed live by AI. No, I wrote it, but it's all AI, and that's thanks to Vern. It's called Sumo or Sunu or
Suno, yeah.
something weird like that, man. I don't recommend it, but it's just different.
I use it for background music so I don't get copyrighted. But
If we all had this when we were kids, we would have been hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if it was a little electronic thing you can buy from the Sears catalog and it would make your own music.
Or Casio.
Totally, man.
It's a
On our
sampler.
old calculator watch. So I got one more super short video that I made. I just thought it was fun.
I love you solo.
I know.
So if you know, you know.
I know.
Hello.
So
what
that's
have we here?
Mr. Jacob Fatu. He's currently my favorite wrestler in wrestling. He's a lot of fun. So we are at the episode 8 finale of Skeleton Crew. And I'm assuming Brett and John have seen episode 8.
Twice.
Impressive.
I got a message from Lack.
Most impressive.
He's like, I haven't seen it yet. But we
Who
know
said
he's
this?
out. Lack.
Oh my gosh. Don't
But
watch, Black.
He's out floating on a boat somewhere.
Yeah, I saw. If he's out there, don't watch. This is a spoiler-full episode for sure.
Yeah, hopefully he's watching. I want to spoil it for him. It's to be fair, not a lot of stuff happened. If stuff is like big, huge reveals and deaths and like
Yeah.
so I'm not going to say in any way I was disappointed. I was super fulfilled. Like I was saying last week felt like it could have easily been a finale kind of episode. Like it gave me all the ups and downs and happy with, with what I saw. And this did as well. I don't know if it was much better, but it definitely gave us the one answer that I think I needed to know to make me understand why I even watched this show to begin with, is who the supervisor was. And we saw who the supervisor was. So I'm glad. Let's see. Fell asleep how many times?
3.
I think he's sleeping right now.
He didn't even stick around for the part where they revealed that the supervisor was from North Bergen, New Jersey. So
Yeah.
And they did a little pose down. And there was a new
right.
duck Jedi that
and he had an
showed up.
electronic Speedo.
Yeah, I agree, Mr. B. I had a lot of fun last week. It was just a happy ending.
I don't know about you guys. I don't really have any major complaints about this series coming off of the Acolyte and stuff. And
No.
there was things I was disappointed in with Ahsoka. There was things I was really disappointed in with Acolyte, even worse, because there was just so much inconsistency. This show, I thought, had one fatal flaw to me, but other than that, I loved it, man. I loved it.
I feel very much the same, Brad. I do think it was one of the better shows they produced. and made, and
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. I think the kids did a tremendous job acting. Jude Law, great actor. We used to see him in a lot
I
of
was worried, man. I was
romancy
worried that
kind of
he was going to kind of get lost in
comedies,
this.
but he was great, man. And even
Yeah.
at the very last scene, his last scene, you kind of don't hate him. Like there's going to be a little bit of, and it's left open to our own interpretation
Yeah.
if they weren't ever to revisit, it's season 2 or having any
It
of these
could definitely
characters
go to more seasons even
in
without
the
him.
Mandoverse
You could
movies. And
have, I
you
think we
kind of know
talked
they
about it
will.
before. You could have the kids go on their adventures and they're going to grow up like very similar to Stranger Things. Kids, they've grown up,
I'm glad that
Well,
Pirate.
I just don't know where this like what's gonna happen. I mean, yeah,
Well,
'cause it left me with like, well, wait a minute, what's gonna happen? Like, how's the planet? Are they gonna join the
There's-
Yeah.
Republic? Are they,
How
what's
will-
going on?
If it's not a season 2 of this show, which I'm quite confident because of how popular it's been, it's going to get greenlit, and
I has
it's
to.
probably announce it April, and
Like I said, like you said, like
a celebration.
even if it's just the kids, it's got to get a season 2.
Hey, Vern.
I want to say that let me just I'll just throw this out there before you do clips and things. I'll just throw this out there. Here's the only thing that I had an issue with in this show at all, and it's really minor. It's just nitpicky. I admit. I feel like this show had it had 2 heads. You had the kids, and then Jod Binks became this real serious dark man. He was killing people in front of kids. He was murking folks, and he took out the other captain and all this stuff. And he was a dark character. And it became to me just in the last couple episodes when he showed that side like real strong. Obviously, at the beginning when he threw the guy out the airlock, like, okay, that's a pirate thing, right? Like you're going over the
Walking the plank. Yeah, exactly.
okay. But as it went on, you're like, man, this guy has no remorse, no regrets. He is just taking suckers out. He just wants the cold, hard credits. That's all he wanted. I was like, damn, he played that to a T. Excellent. But it was like a super dark path, and then the kids were a super light path. So it was very like 2 very distinct lanes. Other than that, I loved it, man. I thought it was very consistent. And he, if he does go into the Mandoverse and ends up in the movie, I definitely wouldn't want to see him connected to the kids any longer. I'd want to see that what we've seen develop with him be that character there, because he's the badass that we didn't get with Boba Fett.
Yeah. I think he is going to be in the future connected to the kids somehow. It just at the end where
Maybe he'll have a turn and be good. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the families are leaving, the Space Needle, and they're in the elevator, and Jod's standing there, and Wim is Jod, like kind of like hollering at him, like, come.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like kind of held him back, like, no, let the door close.
Like he's bad.
Like, why did that happen though? Like, what is he doing? Like, so I think there is something still there. Like, he did help them in several occasions, but in the end, he turned on them, right? They learned they couldn't trust.
I just feel like he kept doing that.
And
every
then
time he'd get their
Well,
hopes
and
up,
everybody that they met along their journey said the same thing. He'll betray you in the end.
Exactly. So
And that's exactly what he did.
Kept
He
doing it
stayed-
over and over.
Yeah.
And in this episode, Fern said to her mom, like, we've been around the galaxy and we went to different planets. Some of them are scary. There's some good people out there, and they will help us. So she got to see the good and the bad. Like, there's these space pirate guys chasing us, but there's these good people that were trying to help us and stuff. So
that are
and they
flying
flew
in
X-wings.
awesome. They're flying in with awesome X-wings and B-wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool
when
moment.
the B-wings came in, I was like, yes, this is awesome. And they did
Dino
the
makes
whole
the point
four
on the
blast
parents
thing,
here.
like
he just
I think
like
they were
every
written
moment
that
the
way.
parents were on the screen, they were pathetic, bad acting, and clueless. I think this episode, Wim's dad had a couple of cool scenes, and I enjoyed his character throughout the series.
Like, I'm a level 8.
exactly. It was a small character, but
do this.
we
Yeah.
got to know about him a little bit, and he had fun on the speeder bikes and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
When
Yeah.
he jumped the speeder bike,
The
and he's like,
two moms,
"No."
they didn't have any stellar acting moments in this episode, but Fern's mom did, and there's a couple of scenes, and she ended up helping pull the lever down and whatnot. But she at one point asks her daughter, Fern, okay, so what do we do? Like, ask her like for advice. Okay, you're in charge now. Like, so there's a kind of role reversal between the kids and the parents in this episode. Like this
Yeah.
episode, the kids like Win had to defy his dad and get on a speeder bike
Yeah.
because they still work. And he's like, no, no. And then he somehow steals a speeder bike and comes with them. Fern's mom is punished with Fern. Okay, well, you're going to come to me with me to go to the Space Needle, and I'm going to take care of you both. You know, wink, wink.
He was going to take her as his queen.
He was going to take care of him for sure.
Yeah.
But
after stabbing Hell 9,000.
Well, you know, he asked that
yeah,
droid,
exactly.
how many of these chambers are there? And he said 1,100, whatever. I'm thinking, why would he need to have them keep minting? There was so many stacks. He couldn't even move that in his lifetime, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they
Like,
got.
I mean, he
loaded
could
up.
move it, but not spend it. You know,
They got loaded up pretty quick, don't you think? Too.
there was quite a bit on there already. Yeah,
Yeah, they must have been.
I guess that
loading
was
while
supposed to
everything
have
else-
taken place between.
Yeah, while
episodes,
everything
maybe.
else was going on, those
Yeah.
droids were still loading everything.
Yeah,
So at the end of this episode, I'll try to remember and ask you guys, you know, rate this series out of 10. But right now, I just want to ask you, thumbs up or thumbs down on this series.
Thumbs
Like,
up.
did it pass or did
Yeah.
it fail?
It passed. It's a thumbs
completely
up.
passed. Completely refreshed all the BS that we've had to deal with over the last 8-10 months from Disney Plus, Lucasfilm.
Yeah, I would say that's a pleasant change.
Yeah,
Just
Nice.
from the previous show.
Yep.
Well, I'm still not confident that moving forward we're going to have good stuff.
they're gonna keep throwing stuff at the wall until
I-
something
I-
sticks. You know, they
I
can't.
didn't. I think that it.
You can't do 17 seasons of.
There you go, Mr.
Skeleton
B,
Crew,
you know, giving a thumbs up. Yeah, I think that's just a fair thing to ask right now. It
Yeah.
may not be everyone's favorite. We're all, you know,
Yeah.
older than 29 now. So, you know, that's not our episode 1 generation.
Right,
And then
right,
there's
right.
even a newer generation that grew up with the ones that we dislike the most, the sequels. But there's a lot of fans who are in the youngest generation that's where their first
There
Star
are
Wars was, right?
there are a lot of fans for like the characters in this show. Neil, Wim.
Oh, absolutely. There's hashtag Neil Nation is
Right,
a
right.
trending tweet every Thursday night or Wednesday night.
I didn't want to watch it because of him, but after the first
Oh,
one,
come
when he
on.
did the lightsaber fight, I loved it.
He was
I was like,
he
he's
was
great.
pretty badass.
I didn't like him at first, but when he did the "you should not have come here," then I loved it. What's up, Rex?
We almost saw like nude Neil.
In the bathtub, Neil. He's
Got
working on
Neil,
his.
Neil in the bathtub doing his
He's working on his
drawing.
Atten fans.
Yeah, I had Atten fans.
So, and it was a good start because it was a start immediately where we were left off last episode. And
Yeah.
this, I think, helps make the series a complete rewatch. And I know
Yep.
myself and John and probably yourself too, Brett,
Yep.
we'll give this a shot. Like if we got a weekend, try to cram all 8 episodes in over 2 or 3 days. I
Yeah.
think it'll be a fun
Yeah, definitely.
adventure that way. Kind of like you're watching a couple Indiana Jones movies, maybe.
Different
Like-
too, because like I went back to restart Andor since it's coming. And it's kind of a tough watch because you have to pay attention. There's things being said, there's things
Yeah.
taking place. Like if you look away, like, wait, what did they do? You have to
Oh,
like, pay
very
attention.
much so, yeah.
This show just was like a blast. Like it wasn't about paying attention. It grabbed your attention because everything was just blowing up and you know, it was great.
Yeah, I think Andor, like, it required me to give it a second rewatch
Right.
with the subtitles. Like it was like
There's so much
'cause
being
there was
said,
things
man.
I missed. Just
Yeah.
enjoying it without pausing, unless it's a pee
Especially
break.
when they would do the flashbacks and you'd see a piece of his life before when he was a child and things like that. The things that helped the story, and informed his character and things like that. Like I had to rewind a few times on some of that stuff.
See, with Andor, I think the things that I really like about it is seeing I like that the planet when they first show us the planet that him and his mom are living on,
Mhm.
like it's not under imperial control, but by the
Yeah.
end it becomes under
Right, right.
imperial control, and I like that how they move in and take control of a planet kind of thing, and then
Yeah.
having the citizens try to stand up against them, and having that where the droid came out and showed her giving the speech, and I was like, that is really, you know what I mean? That you can
Yeah.
see how moving that speech is and how the people in the crowd react to it, and then the kid
Right.
throws the bomb and the crowd kind of starts to go crazy, and it's like you can actually see that like happening, that it feels real. It feels like
Yeah,
that's how
I
it
know
would
what you mean.
happen in real life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
And it was a neat. It's in a good time. Andor's in a good timeline too, where we could have some free form storytelling, even though we already know what the results are going to be. And that was the same with Rogue One, but we still went in, and I think for the majority of Star Wars fans enjoyed Rogue One a lot. It was a really good movie, not knowing like, oh, it's another it's a prequel to a prequel, like
Yeah.
it's before everything now. So it was kind of neat that way because it did fit in between, 6 movies, or after the first 3, then the second 3. So and I've always liked the stories of Shadows of the Empire and Heir to the Empire also because they fit in between existing
yeah.
stories that we know, Star
Yeah.
Wars and Empire and Jedi. So now we have time between Jedi and the sequels, and that's where this all Mandoverse is happening, right? So,
Well,
and there's
there's
a lot of
still,
time there, like 30 plus years, right?
like in my head, I think they should take an example from Rogue One and Andor and stuff like this that have worked and find other tidbits. Like there's always that thing in when Han decides in Empire Strikes Back, like, oh, you're gonna leave, and he goes, yeah, I got a price on my head. If I don't pay off Jabba the Hutt, I'm a dead man. And she's like, why are you leaving? And he goes, well, that bounty hunter we ran into on Ord Mantell changed my mind about
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well, let's turn that into a movie.
There's a
What
story,
bounty
right?
hunter on Ord Mantell? Let's go
I know
see
we're I
that.
know we're here to talk about Skeleton Crew, but why weren't there aliens in the prison?
Exactly. No, we could each make a list, and we should do that.
Oh
in the
my god, that'd be
future.
its own episode, dude.
Make a list of a line of dialogue in any Star Wars, let's say movie or Disney Plus series, that could be made into a whole new spin-off. Just
Yeah.
that line,
Just because
that
of what it
line
meant.
of dialogue, right? Like,
Yeah.
because they kind of did that with Solo, like Parsec Run and 14 parsecs or whatever, like 9 parsecs.
Yeah. You're
They
right.
made a whole movie off of that, right?
In a sense,
Pretty much.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see more. We can have fun and make a fun list like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we start off where we left off in Skeleton Crew, and Jod basically introduced himself as, the emissary.
a Jedi
A
emissary.
Jedi emissary.
Yeah.
He doubled down.
Yeah. Just like what we talked about this week. Is he going to double down and try to pass himself off as a Jedi?
So,
I
of course,
did like how they said it in here. He goes, after Order 66, a Jedi found him and noticed his ability to use the Force and taught him a couple things.
Told him he
But
was
then
special.
But then the Empire, the clones or whatever, caught up with him and killed the Jedi in front of him.
Yeah.
And
Which would have been Order 66. Yeah.
no, I think he said it happened after Order 6. She found him after Order 66.
They were hunting him down.
And
Yeah,
and then they hunted her down and killed her afterwards,
when she was killed, probably was like around Order 66, is my guess, right?
They were out hunting
No,
him
he
down.
said it was
And just
after.
based on the timeline and his age, and
He said it was after the Order. He said this lone Jedi found me, and then they hunted her down and killed her. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That implied to me that it was after Order 66. She was in hiding, but they found her anyways and killed
Sure,
her.
because it sounded. I think he described her as in rough shape too. So
Yeah.
she's on the run.
Or super old, like a Yoda. Maybe it's Yaddle.
It was Yaddle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because originally IMDb did have a role of
The
Judy
master, yeah.
Nana Wood, like a mother.
Maybe that'll be season 2.
Yeah,
They'll just
so
show us more of the
and
past.
maybe there was a film scene and it was just cut out. So it would be, I think it was about 50 minutes. So this is totally out of order, but basically he separates Fern and Mom, takes them with him as opposed to the other kids and their folks, sends them home to be under like watch by the security droids. And he'll take special care of them both. I'm sure he will. And then they go home for a nice home cooked meal. As Wim's
Yeah,
dad
I
calls
loved
it.
that. Yeah, they have like a Jiffy Popper with a lid on it going.
Yeah.
Totally a Jiffy Popper with a lid on it. I'm sure you can get this on Amazon right now, but yeah, and he's like, yeah, you did say it was like a home cooked meal. Like, what is it you're
No.
cooking? Like just slop?
That was microwaved. That was a freaking TV dinner
was-
microwaved in a glass
It's
jar.
A space
galactic-
microwave.
Got
Yeah.
Yopi steaks.
And then there's this, security droid spying on him. So Wim, and he tells the kids, you guys got to play along or else kind of thing, right? And Wim's kind of letting his dad know that there's more than just the great work. I've seen it with my own eyes.
So is the consensus then that the great work is simply minting the credits?
I guess so.
For
I mean, I
them.
was hoping there'd be something else, but
They're
I guess-
basically like maintaining the presses, the mints.
yeah, G-Force. They are. They look just like Stouffer's like,
Yeah.
TV dinner
Yeah, I'm
food.
sure we can get those at Walmart.
Single
But
dad,
and
yeah.
mom says meeting a supervisor at your age is an incredible honor. So I had thought maybe until this point that Fern's mom, because she seems like a senior person on this planet, in ranking wise, has
Right.
possibly met this supervisor before, but as we see, she has not, or she's
Yeah.
lying about it. But I don't think she has.
I don't think any of them expected it to be HAL 9000.
And then here's
No,
a
a
walkie-talkie that
giant helmet.
you could get at Radio Shack if there was still Radio Shacks.
Yeah,
I kind of like the simplicity because that to me kind of harkens to Star Wars, but I don't care for the antenna. I don't think antennas.
Yeah, I
look
get
like
it,
that.
but one of the main things I like about Star Wars in general is the use of like props from
Yeah.
Tupperware and
Right.
leg shavers and like
Maybe they
just
could have used the leg shavers instead of that.
camera flash handles and just the generic random stuff. And I like how they try to continue it. Like it is forced in there. Like it could have just been a little wrist
Sure, yeah.
watch thing. Like they're in Star Wars, right? But think of it like a children's toy as well, because he was also playing with action figures. But
Yeah.
I like
I
how he
liked that,
kind of
yeah.
covered it up when the robot
Yeah, he
catches
goes,
him.
what? And he's like, bam, pew, pew, like,
Yeah,
he
I'm
picks
just
up
come on. We need to save Princess Fern.
Yeah, he
Pew, pew.
hurried up. He's like, "What did you say?" And he just hurried up and acted like he was playing.
I thought that was a great scene.
Clever.
I really like that. But yeah, the action figures, like it would have been cool if they were
It's
actually
Lobot.
like Skeleton Crew action figures.
It was probably Lobot.
See, we got Welcome Caesar V. Single dad dinner, exactly. Hungry man.
How did you stay jacked when you're eating Hungry Man dinner?
Whoa, Dino, we've been going like 10 minutes now. You're still awake. What's going
yeah.
on? Must have had a cup of coffee. So that is the Space Needle, right, John?
No,
That's where the
Well, it's the
very
Space
close. I
Space
mean-
Needle. So yeah, these photos are totally out of order. Or why is this one singled out here?
I don't know.
No,
but you
they
see
were
that
going
face
there.
in the
Remember,
clouds?
they were going up the.
Do you see that face
Yeah,
to the
they
left?
went
of the
up the
cloud?
elevator pretty fast too.
Yeah.
And the first shot we see
Star Wars elevators are always fast.
Okay, now I'm gonna reveal something. So 10 minutes after this show like streamed, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. I hadn't watched it yet. I was eating dinner, getting a couple of emails answered. And then I get a message on my phone, like in a chat room, It's like, oh my God, the supervisor is Palps. And I just happened to look over and see that. And I'm like, oh my God, someone just freaking spoiled all of Skeleton Crew. What an idiot, man. I'm going to assault that guy when I see him. And I'm so glad it wasn't true because I would have been pissed, man. But then when it got to this part of the show, when I got to this part of the show, I'm like, it freaking is going to be the Emperor. Like, so part of me was disappointed at this point.
When that thing started to turn, didn't you think it was like a throne?
Dude,
Until the eye?
I did because someone had posted that.
Right.
He was mistaken, of course, because he
was
heard the
screwing
voice.
with everybody. He wasn't mistaken. He was screwing with everyone.
But look at all the dust here that Jod Nanawood is rubbing off this chair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
that
would there
was
be a chair there?
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh no, nobody's there. It's the Wizard of Oz."
Yeah, I thought I was gonna think it was. I didn't actually think that the little eyeball was the thing. I thought
didn't
they'd
either.
like turn it around again and there's be someone inside it.
Or a
Like,
skeleton with a droid talking or
At
something.
this point, I'm still thinking it was the Emperor because someone did that, right?
Because we didn't get our other captain, right?
Why is there a
Yeah.
chair in this room? Like, who's the chair for?
Those would be the people operating the workstations. Where his
But there's no
dad's.
people operating nothing.
Well, I mean, at
It looks
one
like there
time,
never has been.
at one time, or they did it to fake
So
out
like
people.
hundreds of years worth of dust here.
yeah. One time they had people up here working, but now it's just the robots.
And then I heard the voice, and I mentioned this last week too, that I'm like, it's a very, when we heard the supervisor on his little PA announcement, I'm like, oh, he's very British and proper. Like he sounds like, Sheev Palpatine. But we knew it wasn't him because the credits, it gave the voice to someone else. And then I heard the voice again in this episode, and I'm like, man, he's really trying to sound like the Emperor. Like, and then what he says here, I've been watching over you and your daughter with great interest. That's exactly what the Emperor says to little Annie, like
Yeah.
word for word. So I'm like, it's the freaking Emperor, but it's not. It's Hal. From
Then his
Space
eye
Odyssey.
turned red, as I suspected.
But notice these little lights over here. These are the same kind of lights that are on R2D2. Exactly.
related.
Practical.
It looked like an
practical
R5 head.
So it's fiber optics pointing to those little.
It looked like a 500 times bigger R5 head.
It did, and this looks like a similar R2D2 kind of eye too.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, these are not in order. But he kind of caught Jod in a lie and questioned him. He's like, "Well, which are you? Are you a Jedi? I've been dead for generation, or Jedi are all dead, or which are you, an emissary or a Jedi kind of thing?" So I caught him in a lie.
Yep.
Threw me off with the blue saber too, because I was wondering if maybe that was his master's saber, that he never had one.
Well,
'Cause aren't they-
He picked that saber up from the vault.
player.
I know he picked it up from the vault, but I was like, when he first saw it, I was thinking maybe it was the relic that he had with him at some other time, and it was his master's and not his.
Okay.
It just threw me off because of the blue beam, and if she was good before she met him, and then she was hurt or something, maybe she gave it to him and taught him how to use it. He never made his own.
Yeah, no, he never made his own. I'm sure he didn't get that far.
And who would have thought that just stabbing a big, machine in the eye is the way to kill it?
That's definitely some Qui-Gon vibes.
Because it worked.
That was some definite Qui-Gon vibes when he stuck that in there, was spinning it, and it was like molten.
It went all the way into the.
I was like, ooh, it's episode 1 throwback there.
Yes, Mr. B suspected the supervisor was a master droid. And if you all recall, one of my first theories was that I predicted that the supervisor was a droid, as well as like Wim's mom and Omega and Hammerhead, and But the droid was my first theory. You didn't watch it, Wiz?
Look at the answer he got right after that.
Dino's an old curmudgeon, Wizzy. Don't pay attention
Curmudgeon.
to him. Yeah.
A curmudgeon. Ooh.
Don't pay attention to Dino.
He's just getting cranky because he's running out of room for collectibles.
Yep.
Then we have
He doesn't want to admit that he liked the show because then he might want the action figures and he doesn't have
And the
anywhere to put
popcorn
them.
bucket.
He doesn't have any room for them.
Yep.
And we
Yeah,
got
they-
a little more threatening action from Jod and his lightsaber. Why would these change order in any way? But
It's
so this picture was
Kathleen
because it was a
Kennedy.
cool hologram.
Yeah.
Gunter, and we got to see the demise of Gunter, Space Urkel.
Space Circle did that.
But Space Circle looked pretty cool in that captain's chair, though. He was
Yeah.
pretty pumped. So yeah, so he stabs the big robot supervisor in the eye, and all the power on the whole planet goes out, except in the supervisor's tower, because the power's still on in there. And it turned off all the security droids, turned them all
Yep.
off. And Wynn gets his chance to tell his dad, who's like, "Oh, look, the power's out on the block, you know, just everything went back to normal." So he's very happy-go-lucky as Wim's dad. Like that's the, you know, the family values part of his character.
Yeah.
All he's about. And then of course we get Master Hammond walking his little bulldog. A little close-up of his little space bulldog. Pretty cool animal. And of course he got on a leash because you know you have space leashes too, right?
That's
So you've
right.
got to pick up space bulldog,
poop.
bullfrog poop,
Space leashes. Yeah.
and put it in your space miniature garbage bag, and then throw that bag just randomly anywhere on the ground, because that's what people do now.
Well, the robots will pick it up.
So we didn't get to see Neil do the truffle shuffle. I was very sad at that, but extremely happy to see him in a tub, a bubble bath. Thought that
The
was
That-
open
he
window
was-
above
that-
him with
he-
everybody able to look in.
Yeah, he was filming his OnlyFans here. That's what you said.
And I'm
His
sure
only
the Neil
Atten.
Nation were all rosy cheeked and
His
smiling.
Atten fans.
And he's got a cool little skylight in his bathroom too, which was pretty cool. But a great scene because get the shields down and allows the pirate ship. Well, I guess the shields are down just for the pirate ship. They figured out a way to do that with Fern's mom, and all the
That's
kids get a
clearance.
cool view of the ship coming through the clouds, and it's pretty cool looking, I thought. Yeah, I like the effects in the show. I thought they spared no expense, as I like to say.
Except the X-wings killed half a neighborhood when they shot the thing down.
Right.
Yeah,
Whoop.
that's it. It did kind of land in the canal.
Well,
It
yeah,
took out-
eventually,
out,
but on the
Main
way,
Street.
Took out
on the
3
way, it
streets
took
and
out like
17
5
buildings.
houses, and all the people that were in it are dead.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
And whoever was in this space AFX car, they gone. And one of the pirate messages to we got some hammerheads walking down the street. And that big pow pow goes off when the little babies say pow pow. It's just a little, it wasn't in any way a scary movie. Like at first, we're like, okay, a couple people got killed. Okay, he shot Brutus in the head, but they didn't show it. They just, let us know.
It's just harsh what his actions, and he never let up. He continued being a pirate. He continued double crossing. He continued killing, just trying to get what he wanted and more and more and more. And then he had that moment of, he didn't break emotion so much, but he finally told Wynn, like, here's a little bit of my history. So maybe that's what we get to see in season 2 is his history more, But
absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
maybe.
it was just those two paths were so divergent of each other that I was like, damn, this could be 2 different series. Maybe that's the intent.
Yeah, they're missing out not making a big Neil or SM33 popcorn buckets for Dino. Bucket Wars.
yeah. They can have a popcorn bucket, or we would design.
Oh, the
so
credits.
You pour it all in the back of his head, then you squeeze his trunk, and little popcorn comes out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's
Caesar. Like all that money
chocolate-
can be used to rebuild, right?
Gold foil chocolate credits.
There's a few people dead. One of the pirates is messaging Jod and like, oh, we found a couple of civilians with weapons, but we took care of it and made everyone see it, kind of thing. Like she said something like that. But remember that on that hotel planet, the X-wings chased the pirates away.
Yeah,
So, yeah, they have-
I'll just
they have a
call
plan.
them. How did he call them? X11 on
No,
his cellular device.
They haven't yet.
Well, they showed up though.
But I love. So people really hated on the space Vespas, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
but the
didn't.
way
I
they did
like
them here
those.
was way better
How come people are not hating on the
because
space?
they don't look
BMX
like
bike?
Vespas. And they're not purple, green, blue, yellow, red, orange.
And they don't go super slow. These go fast.
Exactly.
But they're kind of the same. These are
These
just the kids'
jump
version.
gullies and all kinds of
Yeah,
cool
they
stuff.
jumped things.
These
They
had
were- yeah.
space tassels and everything. I bet you somewhere on there there's a space bell.
Space tassel.
Yeah, ding ding ding
Ding,
ding.
ding. And they got space hockey cards they put in the spokes. Oh, there's no spokes, I guess.
Yeah.
And Kim, the bird lady from the telescope moon, knows them. Like, I love all the. This
Space
is like
battle
exactly
bag.
what Kenner would have called all these things. Like the new telescope moon playset from Kenner includes the bird lady.
I don't like sand.
That's how they got the X-wing, because they called the bird lady, and the bird lady called the X-wings.
Well, not yet. That's their plan right now. Is that's the plan.
Yeah, yeah.
The kids are making this plan. We got to go call.
She can just do it right from her headpiece.
We got to go call the bird lady. You would think so, but everything is still communications are disrupted. And then Dino, I'm sorry, Dino, but you're no longer allowed to say, "Let's do this."
These aren't the droids we're
That's
looking
now
for.
a whim thing, and I think Disney just trademarked it.
Yeah, that's right.
This deal is
So-
So
getting
from
worse all
now
the time.
on, when Dino says "Let's do this" on his videos, everyone on the planet's gonna think he got this from Wim.
Aren't you a little short for a
Exactly.
They're
storage
gonna be
opener?
like, yeah, they're gonna be like, wow, Dino's such a big fan of Skeleton Crew and Wim that he took the catchphrase from Wim. Let's do this. You
And
know?
because
on. Hold on.
Dino makes tens of dollars monthly being monetized wizard on YouTube,
Mega monetized.
Disney is going to take that and turn it into $6
Yeah,
because
they're gonna take
Dino's
half
now
of it.
using some trademark stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, they're watching it right now,
They're
Dino.
probably waiting until you sell some Disney stuff to make some room. They
They're
want
watching all of our channels right now.
to buy.
But yeah, so Wim steals Dino's line. Sorry, Dino. Okay, I'm gonna close this window, but soon we're gonna see the dad go, "Woohoo! Did you see that? Come on!" I thought that was a clever scene. Jump the shark, so to speak.
Right there, yeah.
And then like, so what happens here? They can
He's
make a
still-
whole movie off of this scene.
He takes the kid's bike. What do you mean?
But does he punch him in the
Does
nose?
the kid get the bike back?
Why is the
he
kid just-
says, "I
The
need your
journey
bike."
of the kid.
He says, "Hey, I need your bike," and he takes
Did
it.
the kid just smoke a space joint and he's just sitting on the
Yep.
side of
He's
the road
spaced
doing
out,
nothing?
man.
Yeah.
Or what's it called? Spice? Did he just smoke some
He's
spice?
spiced out.
Spiced out, man. But yeah, I would have liked to see, because I watched someone review this and they recalled this back to a couple of pop culture things in the past. I can't remember any of them right now, but some shows were
What have we?
in Goonies, Thanos takes the little bike from the kid with the training wheels
Yeah.
Yeah.
and chases after that. It's like, so there is every scene here. It seems like they could call back. You could find something to call back to, and I like that. I like learning little things like that. That it's just an opinion, but if you want to see that, great. It's another fun thing to talk about. And if you
Yeah.
don't see it and you think it's silly, and your name is Geek Strong, and then that's you though. But I like that stuff. And then he catches up, Dad. And he's like, "Hey, stop right now. We got to stop." And they don't stop. Instead, all the space pirates land on your cul-de-sac in your neighborhood, Brett. What do you think of that?
I want to get in a wheel for a ride.
Like, this is literally, that's Brett's house right here, right in the middle. I saw that trick-or-treat video you did, and it looks just like the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
$2 signs. Is that like,
That's a lot.
is that Australian?
I made $12.
Call me when you're monetized on Facebook, Dino.
I'm living large.
Well, yeah, so we get to see, and yeah, this is the lady, the big, thick lady wearing the armor here.
Yeah.
That looks like a clone trooper and a death trooper kind of armor. painted white.
She did more in her few episodes than Phasma did in 3 movies.
She had a lot of lines. I liked her. She didn't stink. She wasn't like
No, she just was, a pirate.
but much like, and same with Space Circle, like he didn't have a big role, but he kind of did. Like his character had a name. We don't know her name. I don't know her name.
No, but there's some
Space
mystery there
Circle has a
because
name.
Jod made a deal with her.
Yeah, I think they might have been secret lovers.
Well, he did it with her and the other guy, though. Maybe the 3. I don't know. But
we got more
it was just
Hammerhead
like
here
he
on the
trusted
screen.
them more than the other guys,
Yes. And the other lady, too. And here's someone pushing Hammerhead on the ground. Like, what are they thinking, man? These stupid space pirates. These are Hammerheads. This is like
tip them over head first.
But I guess I officially think that the speeder BMX scenes in this series are some of my favorite things in this series. I really like that.
Yeah.
I'm a huge speeder bike fan. They sounded cool. They were pretty fast. And they did go into like a forest a couple times.
And they had, they had those right at the start too.
So I hear people saying like these are callbacks to American Graffiti, with kids racing around.
It was from E.T.
Well, E.T. too.
The bad guys were chasing them.
Yeah.
Same thing with Goonies. The Goonies are all E.T., Goonies. Everyone's riding their bikes into space and jumping the cliff. But I liked it. I thought they were pretty cool. And they all got to jump. And then this scene, too, another thing to call back on, they go ride into their school where they're doing their learning, space learning. And that's, to me, a little bit of a callback to Indiana Jones with Mutt and Indy riding into the library, right? I know it might
think
not
about
be,
that one, yeah.
but I see that. Like I think of a pop culture movie and I'm like, hey, this is similar to that.
Right.
And it's got to be a nod in a way.
That looks like the Death Star. That's a nod to the Death Star right there.
Yeah, and everyone thought for 1 second that Neil got blown up real good.
Yep. Neil lost his ear.
So I didn't figure this out on my first watch because I didn't watch it with the subtitles. So I might have missed something here, but
I heard him say there's so many pirates. The ship's going to need cover, but
yeah, so I didn't clue in. Then he's going to go to that big laser cannon on the roof.
Yeah.
But he clearly kind of says the ship's going to need cover. What could he possibly mean by that? So my first time watching it, I didn't even catch that.
We talked about it in one of the other episodes. We were like, they're going to have to turn on the big gun on this planet.
Yeah, like does this planet have the same big gun, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
And then we see all the stacks of gold.
Yeah.
Arr. Yeah, there's rider bikes up there, like still powered off droids everywhere.
Level 7. I thought he was level 8.
You're talking to a level 7 systems coordinator, son. So yeah, cool character. And they get to go their own little adventure, and Wim is pretty pleased that him and his dad get to go, help save. No, I don't want to say save the galaxy, but save Atten. And then here, Mom too. So now the kids are in charge, right?
Well, they kind of turned the trust over to them finally, yeah.
So Neil's got a job. He's going to go fire the big space cannon. Wim and his dad got a job. They got to go turn the power on. So KB can fly the spaceship through, into space and get the message off. And now Kim needs to make a plan how they're going to stop Jod. And, I guess at this point, they know now they need to destroy the barrier. So the good guys and X-Wings can get in, right?
The barrier,
and more threats from Jod. If you defy me, punishment will be severe. But we hear he doesn't want them harmed because he needs them to work as like coin-making slaves, right?
Yep.
Which, again, still says a lot about his character and how evil he truly is. This looks like a little Rose Tico's mom over here, maybe. Yeah, little baby elephants everywhere. And then, the hero of the whole skeleton crew, or one of them, comes to save the day with his Radio Shack walkie-talkie.
That's right.
And I like these Star Wars, pill lights on the side. So at no point did I ever feel like I wasn't watching Star Wars. I
Yeah, this was
always,
very Star Wars.
if it was walkie talkies, if it was like, come to think of it, if Jack Black showed up in this show, I
Maybe
probably
as a
wouldn't have-
pirate.
as anything, I probably wouldn't have, as the exact same
w-
character he was, even
It would have been a
just a
it would have just been a
flamboyant
throwaway
guy.
scene, and way better than being where it was.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
do you agree with me in any way?
I do.
Because as fun
I
as the
also
show
am
is,
glad that they didn't do that though, because we weren't overwhelmed by somebody's appearance that was too popular.
yeah, like nobody. Like there was,
I'm just glad,
I
other than
thought we might
Urkel,
have got one,
other
from the
than Urkel,
Mandoverse, just to somehow make it tie in. Because
yeah.
as of right now, it in no way ties to the Mandoverse in any way at all.
No, I figured we'd get like an after credit scene where you see Jad take off and he's flying, and all of a sudden he sees Mando's little ship that he built or something.
Yeah, MySpace is still there. Do you know your page? Unless you deleted it on purpose, it's still there.
It's Justin Timberlake bought it.
Is
It's
it-
something for musicians now where they can
Yeah,
list
it's
their
just
music and
musicians,
stuff.
but I mean, it's still there. Like,
Yeah, I wonder if my page is still there.
And Jod's like, you can't josh me, man. I know you're just telling your little space stories. It's like, no, not if you have the crystal of the founders. So, and it did sound like obvious, make believe storytelling
Yeah.
stuff, but it was very brave of him, and it was a good scene for him. It gets better, of course, but I'll make you a deal. You let Fern and her mom go, I'll call off the Jedi army. I got some pull. And Fern tries to add in, yeah, he knows the Jedi. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the ticket. And meanwhile, sneakily, Wim's dad comes in.
Level 7 skills
Turn
to the
on.
test.
Turn on the power so they can unhook the ship. Right?
Yep.
That's literally his only purpose. Unhook the police curb lock thing.
You may fire when ready.
Powered off droids, but turning that power on did not power the droids back on. Again, that's another weird thing.
I thought they lost it when he took the eye out of the giant droid, but like it controlled the whatever to them.
Yeah, that actually killed the power to the whole city.
Yeah, it was weird.
Except that little room, because all the keyboards were still lit
Right.
up, and which was just kind of weird. Obviously on a backup generator, or whatever you want to call it. But so if he turns the power back on, it's yeah. So did he turn the power back on to all the houses by pushing that button?
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
so.
I think, yeah.
And we all
You
knew
see how when the
that
X-Wings are
me would return.
coming
That was
in all the
fun.
time.
That was a fun moment because the camera was on her and it moved over.
Yeah.
Hold me steady. Hold me
She's like,
steady.
she's like holding his head, right?
Yeah, it was great.
And then out in a minute, out pops the little snowball creature guy.
Yep.
But then the winner of the whole skeleton crew right here, I believe. I think Neil is the true hero by taking a couple of shots at the big pirate ship.
Yeah.
I got you covered. Again, Han Solo line, so a little member berry.
Luke Skywalker.
It all
there.
rhymes, like George says. He's looking
Great
pretty happy.
kid. Don't get cocky.
And she she pulls out her space iPhone and calls the space bird lady.
Calls hooty hoo.
Pirates are attacking our planet. You said to call if we needed help.
I'll be there in
Then-
2 shakes of a rat's tail.
You can
then
call the
she
X-Wings.
And then she says, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie
I'll be
Roll
there
Pop?
in 1, 2, 3 licks.
Three.
But
Three
how
parsecs.
small would a vintage collection little snowball mouse be? That'd
Oh,
be smaller
jeez.
than Grogu and Babu Frick, and it could be the new smallest figure ever, Hasbro.
Has to come
They're
with a
the
magnifying
greatest
glass.
pirate busters in the galaxy. I have a hyperspace route straight to you. They'll be there in 2 flaps. And
You're
2
a
licks of the
wizard, Harry.
lollipop. 2 flaps.
She
and 2
should
licks.
have ended with, "You're a wizard, Harry."
Yeah.
But
you're-
I will guarantee Kim the bird lady we will see her
Oh, yeah.
again,
How about
even if
though?
there is no more
Speaking
skull.
of speaking of that, when we're talking about Wizard of Oz, whatever. How about when they said that's so wizard?
Yeah, they
Took
did.
it right out of pop culture. That was great.
Lost my freaking mind.
It's all right. He'll find it here. We're almost done.
Well, they
But yeah,
said it in that's from the prequels. You remember, like when Anakin's friend there says, "That's so wizard, Annie."
yeah.
Yeah.
So Kickster.
Kitster, yeah.
But yeah, we'll see Kim again. I'm sure of it. So KB gets the message through, but I'm hit. Pirates took a couple shots at her, got her, and she's going down.
Yep.
She's going down.
You think they ate it?
Now, remember I kind of predicted that KB would die in one of my early on Left Coast theories? I think they saw that and they
They
changed.
did. They're like, we're
They
gonna get him.
totally changed the ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't shed a tear.
These kids
but I
were showing
was
more
like-
emotion than
but I
most adult
was-
actors, man.
I was more than 50%, more 51% sure when I saw Fern yell and cry here that KB had died. But then I thought, well, she's probably an android and they can fix her. I was kind of thinking like that, so I wasn't thinking all bad things.
I wasn't worried for a second. I knew she'd be alive. I was like, they're
I
not
was,
killing a
just 'cause
kid.
when
in
I
the
just
show.
thought when it happened, I was like, there's no way. They can't.
Yeah, I was like,
believe
they're
that.
not killing a kid in the show.
No.
Whenever we've seen these kids show some serious emotion like that, something happened. So that's why I thought, oh, and I predicted it. And so I just assumed they were just copying me, stealing my thunder.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very imperial looking, right? Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
more
I
imperial.
thought it
looking
was like the Emperor's Chamber kind of when that
Then-
thing started to spin.
Rebel or Alliance looking for sure, with all the red and white lights and all the black painted floors. And
This isn't My Girl with bees. Like the bees. I remember that. Yeah. The bees.
and then Wim makes a run for the actual handle that will disassemble the whole security system.
You're no Jedi.
And then he has another emotional scene for this young actor. Like,
Oh my gosh, I just figured it out. He's Palpatine. He grows up to become
Yes, you're
Palpatine.
no Jedi.
Wim does.
Yeah, he grows up to be Palpatine.
Oh my god, you're right.
Jed Patine.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, Caesar. And like it would have to be like, yeah, but does Disney old Yeller and people die in Disney? Like it does happen. Like, wasn't Snow White dead at one point? Or
No,
did
she
she eat
was
a
always
poison apple and
asleep.
die?
She was asleep until the prince kissed her.
He
Yeah,
shocked
so-
her.
You're no Jedi. And now the real good guys are coming.
Coming.
And again, a line of dialogue is the title of this week's episode, which is The Real Good Guys. I like this
Are
kid.
coming later.
I like this kid a lot. I like to see him in other acting roles. All of these kids. I think they've all proved,
I thought we were going to get a Scooby Doo right there when I was your age. Diddly-doo, diddly-doo, and then we'd see the Jedi Master and all this other
But I
stuff.
got a few slides here because I wanted his dialogue. When I was your age, all I cared about was not starving. So, he didn't grow up rich.
I'm just sitting there going, flick the damn switch. When he's hanging on to it for like
because
5 minutes.
At his
He's
dad's
hanging on to
throat,
it for
right?
5 minutes while he's listening to the guy talk. And I'm going, hit this damn switch. Just
But he's
pull
telling
it.
him about Jedi stuff, right? I was living in a hole in the ground, so that's a pretty bad place to live, right? And a Jedi found me. She may have been desperate and ragged like me, right? So,
Yeah, so I thought it was after Order 66.
well, it does sound like it. She's obviously been hunted or, traumatized herself.
Said I had
But she told me I had
potential.
potential. She only taught me a little before they hunted her down. And they made me watch whilst they killed her. So I think only bad guys say whilst.
They made me watch whilst they killed her.
I couldn't see Space Circle saying that. But yeah, so Fern's like begging her
Did I
mom
whilst that?
for help. And she grabs Sorry, out of order again.
And he
They
just
turn
says,
off the shield, and then
"You
boom,
bet."
the lights come on.
Yeah.
And Jod, the Nana Wood, is pissed.
It's all the stars. It
See how that's got the machine behind him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Let's smoke
impending.
him out every hole and corner.
He's going to be the new Vader.
This, I thought, this was the coolest scene of this whole episode. And it really meant, and that's, I want some opinions on this. He didn't do anything. Like, he lit the lightsaber, like, you know, "Arr." And because the thing was already down, Jod had a gun in his hand, pointed at these kids, could have shot them both,
Right.
and he didn't. Instead of shooting these two kids, he just dropped his blaster.
And also, he was probably thinking, "This will be my crew. I'll bring them in.
But that's where, you know, I'm kind of
They could grow up to be a great crew."
Oh, G-Force coming. What's up, G? Someone put Dino in a 1 minute timeout for no reason.
He's been curmudgeon.
I like this scene, and I put it as the thumbnail for this episode. And someone commented on Facebook. Yes, Facebook, Dino, it's still there. They're like, a little spoilery, don't you think? And I commented, well, maybe kind of, sort of, but like, what happens after the scene? Like,
he didn't
nothing.
do
Like,
anything.
it didn't spoil nothing.
Yeah, he throws
We've
it on
seen
the
him
ground.
hold the lightsaber in a previous episode as well. So I didn't.
You have to. I mean, you have to assume Jod made it out of there.
I'm all about the clickbait. It's all like I just want you to click on him and watch my video.
That's right.
But it's a cool shot. It looks like she's holding the lightsaber here too, but she's not. So did they
Or
airbrush
she'd
it
be
out?
have a blaster or something.
Pew pew. Yeah, she fired a blaster at one time, and then here comes the real good guys, and some B wings.
Yeah.
So we have
Lock our spoils and
Run it
attack
through
position.
OBS, Vern.
we have like a red, an orange jumpsuit X-wing guy that kind of looks like Rob Liefeld a little bit. Then we got the blue jumpsuit, like Carson Teva kind of crew.
Yep.
This lady
Yep.
going in, and then we got this Ello nasty kind of looking guy.
Snoots. It's Snoots.
Snoots.
Hey, Snoots. Got him.
Not Ponda Baba.
But no Carson Teva. No Carson
And the
Teva.
B-Wings do their 4 blaster.
That would have been the one cameo that, you know, I think nobody would have complained about. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not Mark Hamill, it's not Thrawn, it's not Ahsoka or Mando or Boba Fett or Fennec Shand, but Carson Teva, like the main good guy who we associate with these good guys. So I wouldn't have been disappointed if we saw Carson Teva, but sadly we didn't. But we did get to see these new freaking laser beams. When your B-wing
they showed in Rebels that the B-wing could do that
in the cartoons,
yeah, but it we never saw it in live action before.
Do
So this
the
is really
screenshots
cool.
in OBS, Vern. Play the Disney Plus through OBS and then take your screenshot.
But yeah, so the pirate ship kind of gets destroyed and sliced and diced, like with these cheese slicer lasers here, which worked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't use that to destroy the Empire, you know, many years ago. Could have figured out. They're like, wait, I didn't know we had a blue button on our lasers.
Right.
So I don't get this scene. I don't get either. Like, why did Wim call out to Jod? Like, Jod, like, come with us,
come with him.
Or he's kind of pissed off, like saying, Jod, they're gonna get you.
Maybe they all seem a little
Bastard.
concerned. Maybe they thought the big pirate ship was going to crash into the space needle. But Jod looks back.
One quick question about that last photo there. Something I noticed about the show. His mother's missing, her father's missing. Do you think they pulled a parent here and there as sort of a thing to hold over these people to keep doing the great work?
Good point.
She had a daughter, they pull the father. He had a son, they pull the mother. That's going to keep.
Be like, you know, the political correctness of like everyone.
But the elephant people had both parents.
Did they have both? Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe they would, for some of these key roles, they would take another parent. Now,
there's
Mysterious
every type of
and
family that exists now represented on the show. So it was very much
Yeah.
like, you know, there's a mother father family, but they're blue elephants. They have bunch of
right,
babies.
right.
There's a family with just a dad. It looks like the mom's passed away. There's a family with that we see just a mom, right there with Fern,
Yeah.
and then there's a family with two moms, or
Yeah.
a mom and an aunt. You know, we'll never know.
Right.
So lots of that representation, but I kind of thought the Wim's mom thing had a point in the story because it got brought up several times.
That's kind of what I mean. Like there'd be a little mystery there. So there you go. There's another thread of a show right there.
Yeah, it's different in Canada. No need for TV, eh? You can totally take
They
screenshots.
use that pilot they made the ship and figure for. Yeah, what about the pirate? The pirate that owned the Onyx Cinder? Where was he?
Yeah, we never got to find out. Yeah.
He dead. He long dead.
Or was he a droid?
Nope, he
No,
was dead.
I think he was like a weak way.
He's dead.
Long lost weak way.
Yeah, he's
So
dead.
Jod stays and watches his, you know, the new ship he what's the word? Stole. I was trying to think of the pirate word. Contradicted or
Commandeered.
commandeered. Arr, that's the word there, me matey. But yeah, okay. Now give me your opinions here. Okay, here his mouth is kind of frowning, right? He's kind of like I'm scared or worried or upset. And then what is he doing here now? They turn that
Just
frown upside
accepting
down.
his fate. He's just accepting his fate. He's like, I'll just sit here till they come, you know.
Okay, so when you rewatch this episode, watch this scene because he does look all worried, and then he thinks of something. His eyes open up a little bit, and then he looks down. He's like, "Yeah," and he gives himself a little inner nod, like, "Oh, I know what I'm gonna do." So he figures something out, and it's not obvious. They don't tell us in the subtitles. Jod thinks of a way to escape, like what something would say in a book. But I think we're kind of led to believe there just by his face acting that he's thought of a plan as he always does. Because what's he gonna? He's gonna go to space jail.
I think he's gonna get away and just jump out the window and fly like Mace Windu.
I'm just a regular citizen of Manhattan. But yeah. So there's KB and the Onyx Cinder crashed into like their space dome place. And everyone's concerned. The door opens and here comes sliding down KP and all that gold. Arr. So the kids are rich. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And this greatest line of this episode by far. And I don't know what it's referencing, but I know it's referencing at least 2 movies. It's referencing at least 1 Star Wars that I can't remember. Someone said this in a movie because the show's good for that. But I thought it was good, and everyone's happy that Kim lives. And of course, Smee, arr. One of me better landings, that is. So the adventures can continue with the children, with the robot, and with or without Jod, but Jod's still going to be involved. And this line I like too. Hey, Wim, looks like you don't have to take the assessment anymore. And I thought he said this the first time because of all the money they're standing in. But it's because he sees what Wim now sees.
Potential, yeah.
Is the rebel blockade runner coming over top. So the kids have learned that there is good guys and Jedis out there that they never knew existed before. Yeah, the real good guys. So now Wim could go off and become, a fighter pilot and a Jedi.
Is that your next pen?
So overall, I was extremely happy with the ending, how they left it for us to interpret maybe the futures of Jod and the kids. But Yeah, just rewatch this after show too, Dino. Even if
All
you fall
right.
asleep, I still
So
get the watch hours.
what's everybody's final scores?
Final score, I'm going to give it an 8.33 repeating.
Wow.
I really enjoyed it. There's no sleeper episode or what fillers, as people like to call some episodes. I didn't see that with this. The last two episodes I really liked. Lots of aspects in every episode. The kids I thought were fantastic actors. Great supporting cast. Even the parents, Dino gives it a 5. I think that's unfair, Dino. I think they made this show for Dino.
Are you that high, John?
I think it's 7.51138.
Ooh. So we had an 8.3 repeating and a 7.12. I'm like I have a range. I'm like a 7.9 to like an 8.68. I really like the show. I'm going to put it at an 8. That's my final answer, 8. I really liked it. Sure, there's going to be some holes in story and some things you don't like. I wish Brutus would have survived. I wish Brutus was a little bit bigger like Kersantin, but that's neither here nor there.
Like bigger in size or have a bigger role?
I wish they would have scaled him kind of like a Kersantin, kind of not quite as tall as Chewbacca, but like stocky, bigger than everybody around. I thought that would have been a cool way to build the costume. But anyway, 8.0.
And with these post-credit scenes in this week's episode, and then the last one is the skeleton crew on their ship. So cool, they added that one in.
Yeah,
that wasn't part of Wim's stories. And then this last scene with the little, the space iPad, like we would watch some on 80s TV, and iPad is vintage to them. And then a couple of little Star Wars figures here. Thought that was cool, man.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed. Oh, here's all the shots we missed because it was out of order. Jod Nanawood at your service.
Jod Binks at your service.
Just that one. But yeah, I'm very happy. I think the high score reflects that. I just think it was a top screen. There we go. I think it was thoroughly entertaining. I don't think it was made for kids. I think now that it's out, it will get the views that people are reporting that it's not getting. And I don't know where people get these kind of statistics like this, because they're not actually public knowledge to anyone unless your name is Bob Iger or Mickey Mouse. And maybe Kathleen Kennedy, and John Favreau. But no one else knows, 11 million people watch this, and 13 million people watch The Acolyte, and 48
There's something with
million
Nielsen's
people watch
website.
Squid Games. Yeah, but it's not a thing. They're private companies, and they don't have to make that stuff public. For now, maybe someone will make a rule that they have to make that public because they're almighty powerful. But I think it's the best Star Wars show of the year. And the best Star Wars show of last year.
Best Star Wars show of last year for sure.
Yeah. Well, and this year so far.
So far.
So 2 years running.
Yeah.
The Skeleton Crew is number 1.
I think so.
Caesar said give it an 8.
He said fun but pointless, but I don't think it was supposed to really have much of one other than to, I think, project Jod into Mandoverse. But obviously they're all in it now, so.
Yeah. So for Jod, right now he's still got some time to figure out some
I looked at that
things,
scene really fast, what you were talking about. And
I
think he still sees another opportunity. And when he gave the little grin, it was to choose that he's going to try and get those kids.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Get him for hostage or something. Hey, booze. It was a lot of fun.
Something.
I did enjoy this. The only cartoon show from Star Wars I really liked was The Bad Batch. And I liked that. I thought that was the best of all the cartoons, and I did like
Yeah.
this better than the Bad Batch because live action it felt expensive, pricey, spared no expense.
Maybe there'll
So,
be a third season of this where you could really compare the two then, because there are
But by then-
aspects of Bad Batch that were great.
But then the kids will be 18 and we will
Yeah, it'll happen.
kind of like the Stranger Things thing.
I have a little thing I have to get to. Sorry, guys. I have to leave you.
Oh, it's all
But,
good. We're pretty much done here.
8.0, loved it. And
Anyone
we'll
has
see,
any questions? But
I'll
thanks
see you
for joining
guys
us,
later.
Brett.
I got to
we'll
jump
catch you
out.
up.
Sorry. All right.
Yeah,
See you
bye,
guys. Thanks, everybody.
I love you, Solo.
I know.
Thank you, Brett. We love you. So anything that that we might have missed, John, like you thought that they were maybe hinting at, or some story plots that you think should have been answered or could have been answered, or that you
I
see
think
it continuing in some way?
yeah, what it left me with is like I feel like we were on to something the last couple of weeks when we were talking about the money and saying that maybe this is what goes to fund the First Order. And we were discussing whether or not we would see like a First Order ship or some kind of thing show up, and that would be the thing that would chase off the pirates. Like once they take the shield down, it would be a something that sort of hints towards the Empire or the First Order that shows up and chases the pirates away. But now that it's the Republic that actually did it, now I'm kind of thinking like, so what's going to probably happen? And this is what I would like to see, is I would like to see what happens now that the Republic is aware of the planet and the Republic is aware of all the money they have.
Yeah, that's what, because I'm pretty sure the Republic's not going to get all that money.
So what's going to,
they'd have a lot more X-Wings.
What I think will end up happening is they're going to go back to the Senate with this, the newly formed new Senate in the New Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to discuss what happens with this money, because it's more money than anything has been bringing into the Republic. You know what I mean? I mean, this is like this can fund an entire, like we said, an entire army. It funds the First Order. So behind the scenes, I almost wonder if they are setting up another thing where some senator that's in the New Republic is going to end up being like the key to starting the First Order. Like they're still, in a sense, like they're a senator, they're in there, but they're still loyal to the Empire. You know what I mean? Like where else should we see that, where they hinted at that, where they were like, well, a lot of these guys working here all work for the Empire, or something. And didn't we see that in another show? Didn't we see that in The Mandalorian, where like they went somewhere and they were like, some of these guys are still, they were ex-Imperials and now they're working in there like for the Republic. Yeah. So I think
what you said about the bad guys showing up instead of the good guys, the ending would have been very much similar.
Yeah.
Except like the kids being safe and Jod being potentially captured. It would have been Jod, actually all of them being maybe in danger, right? Yeah. Jod and the kids and the whole planet. So it would have made for a much more of a cliffhanger if it was like, boom, Star Destroyers that popped out of, hyperspace or onto the atmosphere, instead of, 6 X-Wings and 3 B-Wings,
Yeah.
And then a Tantive runner.
So now I'm wondering if, what I'm getting at is there's going to be a senator in the Senate that is working for, he still believes in the Empire, and behind the scenes, he's going to finagle it some way so that he can start funneling this money into the Outer Rim, into the way out, and secretly be funding the rise of the First Order. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something I would like to see. I would like to see these remnants of the Empire working from within the New Republic. because clearly, I mean, like if those movies count, even in wasn't it even in Force Awakens they were talking about like Leia and Han and them knew about the First Order forming in the outer
I
rim or
think
something.
something was mentioned, yeah, too.
Yeah, so
In the outer rim, or the
they kind of knew that even the Republic kind of knew that there was this faction growing out there. You know what I mean? Like, so
in this timeline, I would think that space pirates, including Jod, would know that there is in existence like remnant Imperials. Like if they'd done a little bit of traveling,
yeah.
casino.
Well, and it's hinted at with what
different planets, they might have seen remnant stormtroopers and
yeah,
war before, right?
it was hinted at in the Mandalorian where Gideon seems to be working for somebody, and then also the guy
And the client.
Carson Teva. No, there was someone above the client and all them.
Yeah, but I mean, he wore the Imperial symbol.
But Carson Teva said there's stuff going on in the outskirts that outer rim or wherever that, and he goes, but not a lot of people are believing it yet, or something like that. Don't you remember something to that effect?
It sounds about right. I can't say it didn't happen.
There's things going on that they don't understand yet, and I think it's just remnants of the Empire that will eventually coalesce into the First Order. And I still think that this is where the money comes from. But someone in the Senate in the Republic is going to funnel that money out to the First Order.
I think you're right. I think for sure this money will go towards what will become the First Order, and how they get it. Like maybe there's a spy or whatever within the Republic who just lets that information go. Hey, we found this planet full of gold. You might want to, here's the coordinates. So I bet you the word gets out because,
something. It could be that too. Just they release the word.
Rumors travel fast, right? Space gossip.
And I mean, heck, maybe we'll see Thrawn try to seize the planet and take control of it. You know what I mean? Like later on, like.
Yeah, it'd be neat to know if, not spoiler, like no, but if Jon Favreau and Filoni have At-Aten and have always had At-Aten in mind for what's coming next. Do you know what I mean? Like, because this skeleton crew was supposed to be 4 or 5 years ago, like before COVID happened. And that's when it was supposed to come out. So these kids have already aged 3 years.
Yeah, the kids said that when they were watching it on the red carpet, the kids said that we filmed all this like 3 years ago. So it's great to finally see it,
So I wonder if back then, Favreau's story, they knew that this little part of the skeleton crew, this planet full of bank money printing machines, would be a part of the Mandoverse story, and this is how we tie the First Order in, and the sequels somehow, because they really didn't connect any dots. We assumed they would connect dots between this and the Emperor returning and the sequels, but I don't see any threads. I don't see any connections at all. It's just open to interpretation for now, and we can make theories every day, and we'll never know the answer, maybe.
But it's just one more thing that, like I've said, all these shows, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, like every single one of these shows has unanswered questions with it and unanswered threads. And somewhere down the road, I hope they tie all these threads off, because I would hate to see every single thing just left open, like.
Yeah, and other good news, we've heard that rumors now that Ewan McGregor has been cast for like the Ahsoka movie, if it's official or not. So in more flashbacks, Clone Wars flashbacks, but not just with Anakin, also with Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that's cool if that's true. That should make all the Ahsoka prequel fans happy.
Wasn't there I saw a clip.
Now we got an actor possibly cast as Balin Skull to replace their late Reed Stevenson.
And I just saw a clip with Hayden Christensen dressed as Anakin, and they had that the girl who played the little
young Ahsoka.
and they were joking around, and she's like, "Hey," he goes like, he said something like, "Hey, Snips," and she's like, "Hey, Sky Guy," or something like that. And I was like, "Is that a clip from like right now? Are they filming or doing costume tests with these people?" Because I didn't recognize any of the stuff behind them or around them. It wasn't what was in. It wasn't Clone Wars looking stuff that like it was in the Kenobi show. You know what I mean?
I know that Hayden is here in Vancouver at the Fan Expo in February, so they won't be filming in February. So I think they're actually, if they're filming anything, it's Mando and Grogu movie.
Well, could it have been a dress rehearsal? Like they just get the clothes on to make
Maybe,
sure
but I mean, if they're
yeah.
filming anything right now, it's Mando and Grogu movie because the Ahsoka one is, I think they're still writing it. That movie's after the Ahsoka series. Ahsoka's getting a season 2 before she later gets a movie, apparently. I hope that rumor's not true. I hope there's just one Filoni movie, or sorry, one Favreau movie and 0 Filoni movies, in my opinion. But he gets a season 2. He's lucky because a lot of these directors and front runners are not getting a season 2, like, you know, The Acolyte and Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett.
I just have a feeling that we're going to see them again. We're going to see Anakin, Obi-Wan, and that the little girl who played it looked like the same girl because the makeup and everything looked the same. But
yeah, it's probably from Ahsoka season 1. Then one of those flashbacks, because I think she does.
Be that, I guess.
I think she does call him Fly Guy, and he does call her Snips in that show. In the flashbacks, I could be wrong. I've only watched them once because it's Ahsoka, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
So, thanks for joining me and everyone in the chat this season, John, on the Skeleton Crew After Show. I had a lot of fun doing it. This is also...
I'm always happy to talk Star Wars, you know.
Absolutely. This is also available as a podcast for your earworm pleasure. So in the next 24 hours, you'll be able to download this from Spotify and Apple and Amazon and all those awesome earworm podcast places, as well as Spotify has the video format as well, just like the YouTubes. And it's growing a little bit. I don't know anyone personally who listens to podcasts as opposed to watch the visual kind, which tend to be very popular now. But hey, we're part of it. And thanks to everyone for being here and joining us every week for 7 weeks, because 1 and 2 were a combo. But I had a lot of fun, and we're going to leave you with the latest outro. So thanks everyone for stopping by. Please
stay awesome, everybody.
And we'll catch you all next time. Cheers.
Left coast is the best coast.